Before we start, you can find this downloadable image in the information box below. Hi, it's Dia. It's Partridge in a Pear Tree day, and since I thought that this guy in the song is the most well-known part of the song because it is the most repeated, I thought I would choose my favorite colored pencils to do this one. And after using all of those sets, I still have to go back with my all-time choice of polychromos as being my favorites and the ones that I would use today. Since this image is fun, meaning it isn't exactly like the images look, it's maybe a little cartoonish, it's fun, it's a little frivolous, and there's no way I can make him look exactly like a partridge in a pear tree. And I don't really want to, but I am going to use colors that are sort of reminiscent of a partridge. Now I started with sort of a Loden green and then a very bright yellow and now a tangerine kind of orange. I don't really have to push hard with polychromos pencils, and they give that really vibrant punch of color. I'm going to leave this in real time because it's relatively short. I think this video is 10 minutes long. Now, I know the partridge isn't orange, but the feathers on a partridge give that sort of glowy, almost sable kind of color or look. So I thought it would be nice to put the orange down first because it would add a dimensional look to the feathers rather than just being one color. Here, I took a dark gray color and I decided that the eyes, I was going to make the eyes kind of fancy. So I went very far around that little black dot, which would be the iris of his eye or her eye. And I used the same color to color the beak at the tip, and I made it the darkest at the tip, and I will go back to that later. I rounded out those eyes a bit. And I was looking at a reference photo, and there was a lot of different partridges. And the one that captured my eye the most had a bright reddish orangish ring around his eye. And right now, he looks pretty weird. But I just kept on going. I didn't mind that these areas were slightly imperfect. In fact, I think that it sort of added to the interest in this little guy's face. I have two birds, and their feather patterns remain the same, but they're not consistent, meaning they're not exactly even on either side. So I was okay with the fact that those lines weren't perfect either. And after using all those sets and I went back to the polychromos, I even appreciated the polychromos more. And I really did like some of the other sets. After using all these nice sets for 10 days in a row, it was really hard to use Crayolas and it was really hard to use the prangs. That's kind of a neutral light brown color. And I went right over the top of that orange. I'm not really trying to blend yet, and I'm going along his right side just to add some dimension. This little guy ended up to be the most fun out of all the images to color. They were all relatively fun because they were so tiny and I was able to finish them quickly and be as detailed as I want and not feeling like I had to rush or try to worry about the video being too long. Partridges are gorgeous. If you have a minute, look them up. There's all different kinds. Some of the colors are just amazing. Now I added those fancy feathers up on top, and I think that's more reminiscent of a quail. Let me look that up. But that's okay. It's artistic license, right? Oh, quails are so cute too. Oh my gosh. These little round potatoes. They're so cute. Some of them have this blue breast with a red head. And actually there's only one of those little feathers coming off the front of their heads, but that's okay. They're cute. I think I'm going to have to draw a feather and a partridge in one of the videos coming up soon. So underneath, I wanted to leave him white partially, but I did add some of that neutral light brown, and then I went over it with a gray, just to give indications of a shadow. I'm reading this. Some quails are actually endangered. I'm going over that green part again. I always do that. I go very light at first, and I know some people who color and they go in full force, and that's very, I think that's a really cool thing because they know exactly what it's going to look like in their head. I don't have that ability. As I color, even when I draw the picture initially, I go back and forth, and it maybe drives some people crazy when they're trying to follow me color, but it's just, I was just going to say it's how I work, but it isn't even so much that I'm trying to work a certain way. It's just that's how it works for me, I guess. Meaning, does this color look good next to that? And if I do it full force and I go and I press really hard, I have less of a chance of recovery. It also allows me to be less tentative. So I can, try a little bit. And yes, I can bring over like a piece of sketch paper and draw it next to it, but sometimes it just doesn't work. You kind of have to color in the area. Oh, I went over that orange with like a burnt red, and then did those little sideways C's to give the impression of feathers. Now that little area, that's his wing. Oh, this was my favorite part. Taking a super sharp black pencil and drawing these really cool feather markings and adding to that beak, making that beak a little bit darker, and then making it a little bit lighter as it goes toward the top. I also added black lines on the orange part of his tail. It really gave a nice shock of detail, and it made him stand out from all the other birds that I colored. I also liked the white detail on the turtle dove, and that black, I didn't make that up. That's actually how they look. They have these incredible markings. So I took a cocoa brown and I started to go over this area. They have such interesting wings, and I drew him like that, meaning with that almost checkerboard basket weave look. Not that they actually look like their feathers are square, but I thought it would be a nice way to stylize it. Kind of appropriate. You can hear my birds in the background. I hope that's not driving you insane. Okay, so I left the center part of that area of that wing lighter. Now I'm going in with the lighter brown. And then darkening up that feathery kind of burnt red area. And I used the same red, and I was going to partially fill in each of those blocks separately, and I quickly realized that it was going to be much too busy looking, so I just decided to shade the underneath parts of the horizontal lines. I wasn't sure if I liked it yet. I knew I liked the color, but I didn't know if I liked the whole overall effect. And I went over the top part of those horizontal lines with that cocoa brown that I used before. Yeah, I noticed a difference also by using all these different sets of oil-based and wax-based. I think the wax-based are creamier, but they also leave a different marking on the paper. Oh, I went in with like a wheat color and just started to attempt to blend all those areas together and allow it to still look like a feathered wing. I think I also liked him very much because his colors are very much the colors in my house. I love bright yellows and greens and those reds, and as I'm looking around, it's all over. There's gold and some black and that punch of like a deep, like that red right there. So, and I also like his eyes very much. I think his eyes came out really interesting. Oh, and what I was saying about the different pencils. Even without blending, the polychromos leave, if the pencil is very sharp, leave a very interesting grain or look on the paper. It almost looks like it's a little bit glowy or luminescent, where some of the, let's say Prismacolors, although I really did develop an appreciation during this trial and during this series of the 12 days of coloring, I still felt like I had to blend them because it leaves a different look. Now for the nest, I didn't want it to look too much like him, so I went over it in gray first, and then I went in with that same sort of wheat or mustard color. And then I just darkened it up underneath him a bit and just kept on repeating those steps until I got a look that I wanted. And I kept the outside relatively plain and lighter. So it looks like it goes from light, where there would be a shadow underneath him, to a lighter area where it would be more in the sun. Thanks for joining me on this coloring series. I am going to color the background either tomorrow or after Christmas. It depends on when I have time. All of a sudden things are catching up. I don't know if it's doing it to you too, but all of a sudden it hit me. It's just a couple days away. And sometimes the backgrounds scare me more than anything. Not scare me, but they're the hardest to figure out. And I might use some pan pastels that I've been dying to use. Let me know if you've ever used them or if you think I should use them. I could even use some makeup that I have. I've heard that some people use makeup relatively on a regular basis. And I really don't. I've tried it once or twice and it's fun and I have a lot of it since that's from a job that I used to do. So I have quite a bit of makeup. But yep, the polychromos, if you can, I would recommend at least incorporating a few colors into your set, even if it's just the black and the white, and you'll start to see how much they're really nice. I used that same brown that I used on our little partridge friend, and I just went over the gray that was already on the tree just to give it some more barky details. And then I decided I was going to do the rest of the leaves off camera. If you have any suggestions about what you want me to do with the background, let me know. I think I am going to use one of the tips. I think Laura King told me that she uses acrylic paint to get like a dimensional snowy look. I can't wait to try that. If anybody else has tips for fancy or fun or interesting backgrounds, definitely tell me. Well, thank you for joining me. This was my favorite day of the 12 days of Christmas, just because I liked the way he turned out so much and I really enjoyed using the polychromos pencils. So thank you all who joined me on this Christmas journey. I'll be doing more videos soon. I am going to do a ring-necked partridge and the background. So I hope you give me a thumbs up or a like and a subscribe and even share if you like it. Thank you for joining me during this. And I hope you have lovely, happy holidays and you stay safe. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be very soon. I'll see you. Bye.